All right, before we unchain Reusse here, this week is the Score North Holiday Online Auction. Today is the final day to bid. 70% off retail price on, God, there's 9 amazing items here. A 5-night all-inclusive golf vacation in the Dominican Republic. A riding lawnmower. It's for Judd. Judd, you can get the riding lawnmower out.
Oh, God.
St.
Love
Louis
that for
Park.
my small yard, yeah.
Yeah. There's even a Canadian fishing trip at Fletcher Lake Resort and a bunch of other things. ScoreNorth.com, keyword auction to bid. Today is the last day. ScoreNorth.com, keyword auction.
Do we know what the Dominican Republic bid is at this moment? I'd love to go
I'll
to
get
the
it for you.
Dominican Republic.
I'll get it for you by the end of. You can hang out with Miguel Sano.
That's right.
Finding
buddy.
Miguel.
Finding
Yeah,
Miguel.
yeah.
Finding Miguel. Hell of a story, Reusse.
I wonder if Miguel will might make him have another tryout in Tampa. Supposedly he's trained in Tampa and is going to again have teams come and take a look at him. Last year when they came and took a look at him, he was fat and out of shape and couldn't hit the ball, and that's why he didn't get signed. But maybe he's more serious about it this time. It is amazing that he is not. He did not get invited to anybody's camp at age 29 last year or something.
Yeah.
Like that. It's incredible. Yeah, we'll see if he gets a say the big baseball news since we were last in. John Anderson will be resigning after the end of this year. He has chosen not to do the kind of retrospective interview as of yet. He's just kind of letting his statement hang, and I don't think he wants to, make it sound like sayonara when he still has a season to manage, So
Right.
He's been pretty low-key about it. But last 3-4 years have been terrible. Before that, it was quite a run. What's going on, though, is the Big Ten's got a lot more serious baseball programs than they used to have. There's 5-6 of them got new facilities, and they're expending money on it and trying to win. And they're going to have to decide what they want to do here. They're going to have to go outside. They do not have their new coach on their staff right now. If they go that route, you pretty much know that Coyle officially doesn't give a damn about baseball. I don't think he does anyway. But
do you think how secure is Mark Coyle right now?
Oh, I don't know. We got the new president. He's kind of an interim president over there right now, and I just don't know who would muscle up and put the heat on him. But certainly, he was trying to get the Southern Cal job and did not get it. And there were rumors he was trying to get another West Coast job and didn't get it. I don't think he's a hot ticket to go anywhere. Do you? I think with the way things are going here, there's nobody who can look at this program and say, boy, we got to hire Mark Coyle. So,
and just look up and down, football, not a train wreck, but worst season in a handful of years. Men's basketball is as bad as it's been in my life the last couple years. The women's volleyball has taken a big step back.
Men's basketball not only winning and finishing last in the Big Ten, they're announcing crowds of 6,000, which means there's 3,000 there, which means they're selling 5,000 season tickets maximum. Nobody knows how many season tickets they're selling, but it's got to be 5 maximum. That's what's happened here is they're still got the you have to make a scholarship donation to buy a basketball season ticket. They should say, okay, we'd like you to still pay the scholarship thing, but if you want to buy a ticket for this thing, you can get in for $15 a game for the rest of the season.
How about buy a season ticket, and then we urge you to go to dinkytownathletes.com or whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you want to know how relevant somebody or something is, check the secondary market, right? How relevant is Taylor Swift? Oh, secondary market, $1,000. It's due $2 to get into the Gopher basketball game the other night on Star.
Yeah, the other night. Yeah, right. I mean, you got Ooey Pooey here, and they announced 6. Well, they were announcing 7 when they had 4. So when they announce 6 something, which means what's that mean, Judd? 3,000 people that they had
Yeah,
there,
probably.
3,500, something
Yeah,
like that. I mean, that's the disaster here. I think their team is a little better than it was. They got some players, but it has gone down to such a point that nobody cares. And that's what makes it a disaster, is that nobody's showing up to watch it, because that place, we've said it 100 times, when it's got 12,000 or 10, it's kind of fun, or 12. When it's got 3,500, it is a barn of the worst magnitude. It's terrible. It's uncomfortable. The concessions are all over the other places.
Yeah,
I'm
but the
sure
bathrooms are nice, Pat. Come on.
Oh yeah,
those
you got
bathrooms.
you got the good biffies too.
I will say too,
Right.
it's nice having a Subway in there. Sometimes you're just craving one of those Subway sandwiches.
Yes, anything. But
how many of
that's
the
one thing.
programs?
You used to have to stand in line when you went to concessions there. Now you pretty much just walk up there, and there's no line, so that's good for the concessions. But
Pat, how many of these programs are perform? And I'm not let's not set unrealistic expectations here. That right, we're not talking about Duke and UConn, whatever. But of the main programs, and I'm going to say women's basketball, men's basketball, football, women's volleyball, men's hockey, women's hockey. And men's baseball. Let's just call those the big programs. How many of those are performing at or above where? Now the women's basketball team is 10-1. They're off to a good non-conference start.
Yeah, they're playing dogs too, but not quite as bad as the men. The only loss was UConn, and they obviously they got a couple 3 players. And Mara Brown is a heck of a player, and Maya Brown, and they got some players. I haven't watched them, I got to admit, but just reading the box scores and stuff, they seem to have some life in the program, but they're drawing 3,000 a game too. So it's now they're going to fill the place on February 28th when Caitlin comes to town. They already sold it out. But I don't think that's a big triumph for women's basketball at the University of Minnesota when you're going to have 12,000 Iowegians there to fill the place up. But and men's hockey is had a nice run. They're not great this year. They're you lost 5 NHLers. That might have something to do with the fact.
But even them, it's like, okay, they're going to be good and competitive every year. But at the end of the day, they haven't the bar there is championship, and they haven't won one in 2 decades. So
especially last year, that was the best team in the country, and they didn't win. So. Yeah.
Did you guys see the reports yesterday? And Doogie confirmed it's true, but not the amounts. There was a report that came, or I shouldn't say report. There was an internet thread that came out yesterday that Cole Kramer was being paid like $25,000 to stick around for the bowl game because he's going to get married. He's bought a place in Phoenix and he was going to leave. It's not that much, but they evidently are paying some players from the NIL fund to go play in Detroit.
Did you see the people who aren't playing in bigger bowl games than this? What team did I see? What team did I see lost 6 defensive backs? Was in a decent bowl game, and 6 defensive backs. And okay, transfer portal fans, did you see this story yesterday that broke yesterday? They have turned down the NCAA's rule against 2 free transfers. You can only have 1 free transfer. Got thrown out in court, and for 2 weeks, at least, now you can transfer twice. So the transfer, if the transfer portal goes from 1 free transfer to unlimited, what's it going to be like? You're going to have
but you need, and that's fine. But then you need more structure. You're going to need more. You're going to literally need like scouting staffs that are beefed up. And
well, you're going to have a new team every year. You're going to. You'll
need a full front office to literally organize it all for every team.
Yeah, it is. It's this one would really. they talk about getting Congress involved. Well, Congress can't come up with $20 for Ukraine anymore, but they're screwed up. But I think there has to be some kind of legal standard for the movement of players here to make it, from. I mean, a college makes the commitment they do to players, and then they just can leave anytime they want to. And
football needs to be taken out of college. Like, it needs to lose. They need to redo the whole idea of football at that, because I mean the NCAA and what they're trying to do makes no sense now.
No, and
you got no chance.
I mean, NIL is all the fundraising is going into NIL here for football. That's what that Dinkytown thing's all football. And that what's that going to do to the other programs? You're now beating up everybody to donate to this NIL fund. What do we have any interest do we care about the other programs at all anymore? Volleyball, for instance. I got to think, Nebraska and Wisconsin and places like that are coming up with some pretty good NIL deals from volleyball. Do we have any? When you start, this year's volleyball team lost their two best players, Wennis and Carter Booth, are two of their three best players, to transfers, and then their number one recruit, as soon as McCutcheon quit, she went to Nebraska. So they got Wennis went to Texas, and Carter Booth went to Wisconsin, and this Chaboy went to Nebraska, and they're all in the Final Four this weekend.
Yeah,
all three of them. They're not staying here. So everything is, over there. They're in chaos. They don't know whether they're on foot or horseback over there. And I think they made a good hire for women's basketball, but whether she's got any money to compete in, there's NIL for women's basketball too. I mean, not just for Caitlin Clark, but for hundreds of other players. So yeah, it's a mess. There's no doubt about it at the university, but they're still playing ooey pooey and having a guy stay on the floor for 5 minutes so he can break an assist record playing against, Ariel McDonald has a record for 16 assists against Wisconsin, and all of a sudden our guy Howard stays on the floor with the reserves for the last 7 or 8 minutes in order to get 17 assists so he can have a big celebration.
Just rifling passes all over the place.
I want an asterisk. Ooey pooey.
Ariel wants his record back, damn it.
Yeah.
Give him his record back.
Yeah, we're proud of that ooey pooey win. They were 11-61 the last 3 years, but hey, he set a record.
Chicago State won last night. They
won
beat
at Northwestern. That validates every lousy team we've ever played. And Chicago State beat Northwestern, and Northwestern beat Purdue. So what's that mean?
Chicago State's national champion, probably.
Yeah, Chicago State. And St. Thomas beat Chicago State just now. So does that make St. Thomas a favorite over Purdue?
It's very Sid-like, Pat. Crazy league. How do you figure?
Actually, if you pull up the let's pull up the RPI ESPN, because I think St. Thomas was actually there's like 300 some. If we start at the bottom, they don't give us the whole.
I think there's 361 now.
There we go. 351
eligible for the tournament and 10 waiting to be eligible for the tournament. I looked it up the other day.
Okay. Yeah, scrolling down is going to take too long here. But St. Thomas was definitely not among the 50 bottom teams, I can tell you that.
Well, last year, St. Thomas and the Gophers were virtually identical. We're in the RPI. I think, we're virtually identical. Now, St. Thomas isn't as good because their best player, the freshman from Wisconsin, went to Virginia where he's starting. Yeah. And he supposedly got $300,000.
How about that?
To leave St. Thomas to go to Virginia.
It's amazing. Yeah, there's 362 teams in Division One
basketball.
Siena is currently the bottom ranked team. Sienna's 2-8. How can they be bottom when Georgia Southern is 0-10? Georgia Southern must have had a couple good moral victories in there.
Siena used to be good, and that's where crazy Fran McCaffrey came from. Siena.
Yeah, didn't they go? He took them to a NCAA tournament, didn't he?
Oh yeah, well, Gophers played them.
Clem played them.
Yeah, Clem played them in the second round because they knocked the year that Clem lost to Duke in the Sweet 16. That was '89, right? Siena beat Kansas State in the I think it was Kansas State in the first round. So the Gophers got to play 14 seed Siena in the second round.
Yeah,
I was down there for that one, and that was for those first two games. So that was Duke. That was Duke when they had that. That was Grant Hill when Grant Hill was making fun of teammate Christian Leitner's attraction to the opposite sex. It was rather interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
But he was really a smartass when he was a freshman. I'll tell you, Grant Hill, he was something.
Hey, real quick, speaking of St. Thomas, just back to that for a second. So tonight, I should promote this.
Yes.
Tonight on 1500 ESPN,
Yes.
that would be, I believe, a 7 o'clock start time.
Yep.
And on Fox Sports 1, they play at number 7 Marquette.
Now that is on Fox FS1. Huh?
That's an FS1 game. Yep.
Yeah, it could come. That could get a little ugly. Marquette plays defense, and they're really good. Although Wisconsin.
But St. Thomas is there. So there's 362 teams in the RPI. St. Thomas is 251. So they're not in the bottom 100.
That's not horrible.
They're ahead of Middle Tennessee, who the Gophers lost to in the NCAA tournament one time.
You're saying St. Thomas is playing a difficult non-conference game? That's not allowed in the state.
What is wrong with that? Now, I will say they're playing a couple of D3s when they get home because they're
playing Crown College on Sunday.
Yeah,
so
trying to fill out their schedule. I
break.
think the coach is a buddy of John Towers or something, so he's looking for a couple of games. But yes, they're playing Marquette. I wrote about that. They're playing Marquette. Last year they opened the season against Creighton, and they're not playing these teams at home either. They're playing them on the road. So it is a mess. Gopher basketball right now is just, the team's a little better, but wow, I think the biggest change in this last 10, 15 years. I mean, Pitino had what were his best teams, Phil? He had a couple of years where he had.
Well, he had one. I think it was actually the year they lost to Middle Tennessee State in the first round, right?
Yeah,
they were a 5 seed, weren't they?
I mean, they were getting some people over there. They were filling it up once in a while when they played a high seed and they had a good team come in. But nothing's gone downhill like that in the last 10, 12 years. Nobody cares. It's amazing.
Yep. Pat, we gotta run to a scoop session here. Get the inside scoop from Doogie, but we will talk to you again tomorrow.
All righty, good enough. Have Doogie tell us who the Gopher baseball coach is going to be. He might. It's probably a little early in the search for Doogie, though. But he'll have some.
He'll have a couple names. Yeah.
There's rumblings. There's always rumblings. See you, Reusse.
Yeah.
All right, see you.
All right, there it is. Reusse Unchained, also presented by our friends at Zero Res today. Is your home ready for the holidays? Be honest, okay? Dirty carpet, that little weird smell in the air. Get all of that deep cleaned before your holiday gatherings. Call Zero Res at 952-0-RES or ZeroResMinnesota.com. Ask for the Score North special and get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at $129. That's 952-0-RES or ZeroResMinnesota.com. Ask for the Score North special. Spell it forward or backwards. It spells the same. Zero Res.